Hi guys. This topic has been on my agenda of video on the personal finance, and it's very important because this is the time is coming that by the end of December 31st of 2025, the current sunset on the estate planning will be expired, and then we'll be talking about what is sunset law, what is the estate planning. But basically, let me tell you the relevance. After December 2025, December 31 of 2025, the current estate tax exemption level will basically cut in half, basically reduced by almost 50%. Why? Because after December 2025, we will have each individual will have estate taxation exemption limit down to $5 million, basically. If you take in the inflation, it's probably $6 million. Right now, each individual, for the estate planning purpose, they can be exempted for up to $12.92 million. So basically, that's why you divided 12 million by two, you get a 6 million. So this is a very significant, timely, pressing issues that everybody should know. You probably know that. You probably ask that, why do I bother? Because I don't have that much money, right? But even if that, the estate planning is always relevant for everybody. Okay, so it's wrong to assume that you don't have nothing to worry about when in fact you do have something to worry about for the estate planning. Estate planning is basically about how do you pass on your asset, your money, your property to the next generation, to your loved ones. So this is relevant to that extent. Is relevant to everybody. Okay, so this is a Let's begin with what is a sunset law. Sunset law is just like any other law, except that they have a clearly predetermined expiration date. Okay, so sunset law is an umbrella term, can mean everything, anything, not just related to estate planning. For example, I'll give you a few famous examples. You'll be surprised that Federal Trade Commission (FTC) is actually established by the Sunset Law. I think that's in 1970 or something. And even Department of Education that's established by the Sunset Law in the 1980s. Okay, and then we have some other things like Environment Protection Agent is also set up by the Sunset Law, and Small Business Administration (SBA). They are all set up by the Sunset Law. The only difference is that the Sunset Law has the flexibility that if the Congress sees the need or government sees the need, they will extend it and renew it. So after a while, to be honest, after a while, nobody's going to cut the FTC. Nobody's going to cut EPA or environment protection. Nobody's going to cut a small business administration. Department of Education, we don't know yet, right? But basically, after a while, after some legal entity is established by the sunset law, that entity often can get its own life, make it harder to cut it. Okay, of course, that's not the case. Unlikely to be the case for the law that we'll be talking about here. This law is actually called Tax Cut and Job Act. So you don't have an easy way to summarize that. Unlike like in the U.S. CHIPS Act, right? CHIPS stand for what is it? CHIPS, the famous CHIPS law that we just recently passed and signed by President Biden, and then actually stand for. I just checked it. I forgot. I checked it. It's called creating helpful incentive to produce semiconductors. So obviously, the lawmakers basically purposely make that shortcut anonymous to make it a to make it to make sure that the name will be called chips, right? But anyway, so not all the sunset laws will expire. Like with the famous example, we have FTC, we have SBA, we have EPA, and even Department of Education, right? Not every sunset law will expire even after the predetermined uh, termination date is passed. The Congress can always renew it. But for this time, the Tax Cut and Job Act, it's most likely will be terminated because given the amount of national debt in this country, it's unlikely for the Congress to renew it. Of course, we know the politics is always there, so that this particular sunset law, Tax Cut and Job Act, was signed by Trump, right, and the Trump administration. And if Trump wins this election again, who knows, right? But I really wish that, regardless, that the country should take care of this national debt. Um, we should have like a bipartisan consensus for taking care of that. So that's the first thing that you need to know about the sunset law. It's not just about this particular law, but a whole bunch of entire category of laws that has a very clear, predetermined expiration date. Okay, so now let's talk about estate planning. Estate planning is basically, like I said earlier, it's basically about how to divide or how to transfer your asset or your property to the next generation or to your loved one after your death. So estate planning, it's actually including relevant to everybody. Like I said, let me just we can make it clear that why is that relevant to everyone? Because even though we have a major vehicle in the extended planning, that the most famous vehicles, legal vehicles, in the comment to the layperson about the estate planning is that two things. One is the will, another is a trust. Okay, will, a lot of people they have a will before the death. So basically, will is it's basically a legal document. It doesn't involve any legal entity. There's no organization set up for executing the will. Okay, but the will has a legal power after they they're going through the probate. Probate is it's a pain in the ass. Basically, that it's a long, expensive legal process that you go through the court, and then the court will supervise and then to decide whether your will is valid, right? So that's one thing. So you should avoid probate as much as you can. So that's one of the reasons that a will is not a best idea for estate planning. But then next one is like a trust. Trust is much more, unlike a will. Trust is a legal entity. It's not just a legal document. It's a legal entity because there's an organization set up to make sure the will of the people created the trust will be carried out. Okay, so we'll be talking about more about this